The summons came the way it usually did for her now. Not as a booming voice from the clouds, but as that quiet, familiar pull in her chest. 1 minute she was on her porch, coffee cooling in her hand, brain already sprinting down 30 worst-case trails. The next minute she could feel the shift. Court was in session. She knew the way by heart. The doorway wasn't in a building. It was inside that place behind her ribs where the fear lived, where the mental reels played on loop. Today the hallway felt extra long, lined with old framed scenes from every time she had messed it up in her mind. Conversations she replayed, decisions she wished she could undo, expressions on people's faces that still woke her up at night. The further she walked, the louder the voices got. "Here she comes again," one sneered, somewhere in the dark. Back on the stand, same charges, new exhibit numbers. Another voice, smoother and colder, started reading from a list. Impulsive, overreactive, always jumping to conclusions, always assuming the worst. Look at this pattern. Look at the chaos she creates. Look at how dangerous it is to trust her judgment. She hadn't even reached the doors yet, and she could feel it, that old, familiar shrinking. The way she automatically stepped into the role of defendant, even when no one had officially said she was on trial. Maybe they're right, she muttered under her breath. Maybe I really am the problem. The accuser's entourage loved that line. The air around her seemed to buzz with agreement. By the time she reached the great double doors of the courtroom, her shoulders were already curved inward like she was ducking a blow. She didn't have to open the doors. They swung inward at her approach, as if someone inside had been watching, waiting. The courtroom was vast, beautiful, and terrifying all at once. Marble floors that never scuffed, balconies filled with unseen witnesses, banners hung high with words she believed on paper, but struggled to hold on to in the middle of the night. Mercy. Covenant. Finished. At the front on the bench, the judge sat. She knew his face now. This was no distant bureaucrat. This was the one who had met her in fields and hospital rooms and back porches. The one whose voice had pulled her out of self-destruction and called her mine before she had cleaned up anything. But when the accusers gathered, even his kindness could feel like a spotlight. She walked forward to the defense table, but it was half-hearted. Everything in her posture said she expected to be overruled before she even spoke. The accuser stepped up, robes whispering against the polished floor. He did not look monstrous. That was the worst part. He looked reasonable, professional, helpful even. "Your Honor," he began smoothly, "we are here yet again on a matter that should by now be settled, and yet, as you can see, continues to present itself as a clear and present risk." He gestured toward her without even looking at her, like she was an item on a docket, not a person. "This one," he continued, "is incapable of staying grounded in truth. She jumps to conclusions at the slightest provocation. She assumes guilt without evidence, assigns motives without facts, spirals into scenarios that have not and will not ever happen. Her own words, Your Honor, describe it best. I come in hot. I blow it up. I overreact." He snapped his fingers, and files appeared on the prosecution table. Thick binders, stacks of paper, whole boxes. "Exhibit A through Z and then some," he went on. Times she went off half-loaded. Times she made herself sick with imaginary disasters. Times she accused herself of things she never did, simply because her mind will always default to, "It must be me." She is a walking liability. For her own sake, and frankly for the sake of those around her, I move that we reinstate full surveillance and punishment. Let every mistake cost her. Let every misstep earn her a new layer of shame. It is, after all, only fair. The words hung in the air like poison. She didn't argue, not at first. Because the terrible thing was, she recognized half those files. She could feel the shape of them, the way you can feel the shape of a scar under your fingertips. "Your Honor," the accuser added, voice almost gentle now, "we both know her history. We both know how many times she's promised, 'I won't.'" "I won't jump the gun next time. I'll trust. I'll wait. I'll stay calm." And yet here we are. Again, clearly her word cannot be trusted. Clearly she needs tighter control, not more freedom. "I rest my case." The whole room seemed to tilt slightly in his favor, like even the rafters were considering it. She swallowed hard. Is there any point in me saying anything?" she whispered, more to herself than anyone. But the judge heard her. He leaned forward slightly, eyes locked on her like there was no one else in the room. "Yes," he said, just that. One word, solid as bedrock. Her legs carried her to the stand before her brain entirely caught up. She sat, hands twisting in her lap, staring down at her own fingers. "Speak," the judge invited. "Not as your own prosecutor. As my daughter." The title made her flinch, but she took a breath. "Your Honor," she began, voice small but steady, "he's not wrong about all of it." A murmur rippled through the onlookers, but she kept going. "I do jump to conclusions. I do come in hot. I do assume it must be me. It's like there's this internal court that starts before I even walk in here. I automatically move to guilty until proven innocent. And I always put myself in the defendant chair first." She glanced over at the accuser's mountain of files. And I know some of those exhibits by heart, she admitted. Times I did make a mess. Times I let fear drive. Times I hurt people because I was trying so hard not to be blindsided again that I swung first. Her throat tightened. But, she pushed on, that is not the whole story. The accuser's eyes narrowed. Permission to present a counter-record? She asked, looking up at the bench. The judge's mouth curved, the faintest suggestion of a smile. Granted, he said, proceed. She stood a little straighter. Your Honor, she said, there were seasons when all I knew was danger. When the only way to survive was to read the room before anyone else, to see the threat before it swung, to assume I was the problem, so maybe I could fix it and keep everyone alive. That wasn't sin, that was survival. I did not ask for that training. It was pressed into my bones. She put a hand flat on the railing in front of her. But then you came and took jurisdiction, she said quietly. You pulled me out, you brought me here. You told me I was not the problem, I was the protected. I was not the defendant, I was the beloved. You told me that in this court, the starting point is not guilty until proven innocent. It is paid in full, already covered, learning how to live free. She looked back at the accuser. So yes, she said, I still react sometimes. I still jump, but when I do, I come here. I don't run away, I don't hide the file. I bring it in and slide it across your bench and say, Judge, I think I messed up again. Because I trust you more than I trust him. The accuser opened his mouth, but the judge raised a hand. Sit, he said mildly. You will have your turn if I require it. The whole room knew what that meant. Most likely he would not. She took a breath that went all the way down. Your Honor, she said, this is really what I'm asking today. Am I always going to be like this? Always jumping in my head? Always running ahead of you? I don't always know if it's your spirit warning me or my fear. I don't always know when to move and when to stay still. I don't always know if I'm supposed to speak or keep quiet. I don't want to grieve you. I don't want to blow past you. I don't want to sin and call it discernment. Her voice cracked. So what do I do? How do I know what to do? How do I know it's you? When do I move? Are you going to forgive me when I miss it? Or am I just racking up more exhibits every day until you finally get tired of me and agree with him? That last question came out raw. Every whisper in the balconies cut off. Even the accuser went still. The judge stood. When he stood, the room recalibrated around him. Gravity shifted. Those banners, mercy, covenant, finished, caught. The breeze and billowed out like they were agreeing. He did not look annoyed. He did not look tired. He looked invested. Bring me the record, he said. The accuser stepped forward, eager, gathering his binders, his boxes, his meticulously labeled sins and stumbles. All of it, the judge added. Every exhibit you wish to use. Every accusation you intend to raise. Every pattern you claim proves she is untrustworthy. The accuser hesitated just for a heartbeat, but then heaved the whole load toward the bench. It landed with a heavy thud that shook the floor. The judge rested his hand on the top file. Do you claim, he asked calmly, eyes on the accuser, that any of this was unknown to me when I chose her? The accuser's jaw tightened. Do you claim that any of this, the judge went on, was not already seen, weighed, and addressed in the sacrifice of my son? Silence. You know the law, the judge said. Answer. The accuser's voice came out strained. No, Your Honor. Do you claim, the judge pressed, that her weakness is stronger than my grace? That her fear is greater than my spirit? That her learning curve is longer than my patience? The accuser stared at the floor. No, Your Honor. Then on what basis? The judge asked, and now his voice rang through the hall. Do you request that I reverse my own verdict? He lifted his hand. Engraved into the wood of the bench, glowing as if lit from within, were the words, No double jeopardy. The accuser flinched like it burned his eyes. This court, the judge declared, does not retry what the Lamb has finished. I have already ruled on her status. Justified, beloved, under mercy, learning under supervision, not living under condemnation. You were present and overruled then. You do not get a second bite at this. He turned his gaze to her. As to your question, he said, and his tone softened without losing 1 ounce of authority. No, I will not get tired of you. Ever. Something in her cracked open at that. She covered her face with one hand. You are asking, he continued, from the place of someone who has only ever known judges who run out of patience, juries who turn on you, authorities who decide you are too much and walk away. I am not like them. My verdict does not depend on your perfect discernment. My love does not hinge on you never missing me. He stepped down from the bench. That alone made every being in the room shift back in awe. The judge leaving the bench was not standard procedure, but he walked down the steps, across the floor, and came to stand right in front of her. He did not tower over her. He took the lower seat beside her, like he was joining her on the stand. You want to know how to tell the difference? He said quietly, so that it felt like their own private conversation, even in that massive room. Between my spirit and your fear? She nodded, tears slicking her lashes. Then listen, he said. This is now part of your case law. He held out his hand, and a simple sheet of parchment appeared. not dense with paragraphs. Just a few lines, bold and clear. When it is my spirit, he read. You may feel urgency, but when you hand it to me, peace follows. Clarity comes, you can breathe. When it is your fear, you hand it to me and it still spins. It demands you fix it yourself. It does not rest, he looked at her. When it is my spirit, he continued, I will never accuse you without a path forward. I will show you a step, however small. Apologize here, pause there. Go left instead of right. Call this person. Write this down. There will always be a next move that does not require you to be your own savior. He tapped the page. When it is your fear, it will sound like a loop with no exit. It will tell you everything is your fault and nothing you do will be enough. It will not offer you a step, only a sentence. He let that sink in. You are allowed to test the spirits, he said, even the ones that sound like your own thoughts. When something shouts, move now or disaster, you may bring it here. You may ask, is this you? And if it is not, I will not scold you for asking. I will be pleased that you brought it to court instead of letting it drive you. He handed her the parchment. This, he said, is your standing order. You are not on trial every time you have a thought. You are in training. I am not the prosecutor. I am your father and your judge, and those roles do not contradict one another in my kingdom. He stood, then glanced back at the stack of accusations heaped on his bench. As for these, he said, they remain covered under previous rulings. He lifted his gavel, and for just a second she braced, all those old reflexes firing. But when it fell, it did not sound like punishment. It sounded like a door slamming in the accuser's face. All attempts, he declared, to introduce previously adjudicated failures as fresh evidence against her standing are hereby barred from this court. Any appeal on the grounds of she did it again is overruled by the Lamb. Instead, he went on, and his tone warmed, her missteps will be logged in a different file, not under condemnation, under curriculum. Each one will become another exhibit in the case law of how I teach her, keep her, and grow her. She is not failing the test. She is learning the way. He turned back to her. You asked if you will always be like this, he said more gently. The answer is no, not forever. You will not always jump this fast or spin this hard. But even while you are learning, you are not disqualified. You are not on probation. You are mine. He rested a hand briefly over her heart. And when you miss it, he said, you will do what you have already been doing. You will bring it here. I will correct you without crushing you. I will train you without shaming you. I will show you step by step how to pause, how to ask, how to rest, how to let me move while you stay still. He nodded toward the gallery, toward the watching crowds and the muttering realms. Let it be entered into the record, he said, voice rising again, that this daughter is not defined by her overreactions, her false alarms, or her trauma-shaped instincts. She is defined by my choice, my blood, my spirit within her, and my relentless commitment to finish what I started. No further questions on that point will be entertained. He looked back at the accuser. Do you wish to object? He asked. The accuser's hands were balled into fists at his sides. His voice came out hoarse. No, Your Honor. Then this hearing is adjourned, the judge said. But the relationship is not. He gave her one last look, steady and kind. Next time the panic rises, he said softly, just for her, do not put yourself on the stand. Bring it straight to me. You are not your own attorney anymore. That job is taken. The gavel fell one last time. Somewhere deep in her chest, a new folder slid into place, labeled in bold, permanent ink, not on trial. In training. The courtroom doors open straight into a quiet street. It is not noisy, not crowded, just that cool early morning kind of light, the in-between time before everything wakes up. The steps of the court come down into a path, and the path runs toward what you know is home, even if you cannot quite see the porch yet. You clutch the parchment he gave you, that not on trial and training order, and you feel it in your hand like a weight and a safety belt at the same time. He is walking ahead a few steps, like he is finished with business for the moment. Like the judge is going back to wherever judges go when court is done. Wait, you say, and your own voice startles you a little. He turns, robes brushing the stones, and there is no annoyance in his face at all. Just that same steady attention that makes you feel like the whole universe pauses when you speak. Would you start, and your throat tightens, would you walk me home? Something in his eyes softens further, which you did not think was even possible. Of course, he says, like this is the most obvious thing in all creation. I have never let you walk it alone. He falls into step beside you. For a while you just walk. No speeches, no thunder. The sound of your footsteps, the rustle of his robe. The city around you slowly shifts. Less marble, more ordinary stone, a few trees. The first hint of a front porch rail far ahead. After a bit, the words that have been knotted up in your chest push to the surface. Can I ask you something else? You say, staring down at the path. You may ask me anything, he answers. Your voice is small, but it is honest. When I go off path, when I run ahead or freeze or just flat out choose the wrong road, will you forgive me and come get me? Not just wait for me to crawl back, but actually come find me? He does not even hesitate. Yes, he says simply. I already have, many times. You glance up at him. He goes on. My forgiveness is not a faucet that I turn on and off depending on how well you navigate. It is a river that was open before you took your first wrong turn. When you stray, I do not stand at the doorway with crossed arms. I leave the 99. I go after you. I pick you up, even when you are too exhausted to walk back. You swallow, even when it's my fault. He shakes his head slightly. Fault does not frighten me. I bore the full weight of fault on the cross. What I want from you is not perfect navigation, but a heart that turns back when it realizes it has wandered. When you say, come get me, I am already on the way. Tears hit the path at your feet. I hate that I still do it, you whisper. I hate that I still miss you, still react first and ask later. I keep thinking you're going to be tired of covering the same roads with me. He stops walking, so you have to stop too. He turns to face you fully. Listen to me, he says, quiet but so intense it goes right through you. I do not get tired of you. I get tired of what hurts you. There is a difference. I will never be weary of coming for you. I will only be relentless against the things that drag you away. He reaches out and touches the parchment in your hand. This, he reminds you, is not just a note for court. It is your pass on every road. When you feel lost, you may hold it up and say, I'm not on trial, I'm in training, and my teacher will come for me. And I will. You breathe out shaky, but something in your ribs loosens. The houses are clearer now. You recognize the shape of your own, the familiar line of the porch rail, the place where Bird Court likes to hold session, even if here it is translated into heaven's language. You walk again, a little closer to him this time. There will be days, he says as you go, when you will feel like you went so far off the map that I must be angry with you. On those days, I want you to remember this walk. Remember that you asked, will you come get me? And I did not negotiate or condition my answer. I said yes. He glances at you sideways, a hint of a smile in his eyes. And I meant it. The path curves, and suddenly you are at the bottom of the... The path curves, and suddenly you are at the bottom of the steps that lead up to your porch. It looks like home, but truer. The umbrella is there, the chairs, the rail where the birds like to line up and fuss. It is all washed in that soft, in-between light where it could still be night, but morning is already reaching for the edges. You slow down, because somehow reaching the steps feels like the end of something holy, and you are not quite ready to let him go. He stops with you right at the first step. This is you, he says quietly. This is where I've placed you. Your little jurisdiction. Your post. You look up at the porch, then back at him, and the words that have been sitting under your tongue all the way from the court finally push out. I hope, your voice cracks and you try again. I hope I make you proud. You rush to explain, hands fidgeting with the parchment. I know I mess up a lot. I know I overreact and shut down and say things I wish I could pull back. I know you love me, I do, but I don't want to be the kid you're always having to explain. I want to be the one that makes you smile when you look at our file. I want to make you proud. For a heartbeat, everything goes very still. Then he steps closer, so close you can feel the warmth of him, like the first rays of the sun. My daughter, he says, and there's a smile in his voice even before it reaches his face. You already do. You blink up at him. He holds your gaze, not letting you look away. I'm not proud of you because you perform flawlessly, he says. I am proud of you because you keep turning back toward me. I am proud of you because you let me teach you. I am proud of you because with every blow you have taken, every loss you have endured, you are still here, still reaching for my hand instead of the old escapes. His eyes shine like he is remembering all of it at once. I saw you on that field when you put the bottle down. He goes on softly. I saw you in the hospital when you thought you would never breathe again. I saw you on dark nights when no one else knew what you were carrying, and you whispered my name instead of disappearing. Every time you have chosen me, even shakily, even angrily, it has been recorded. I am pleased with you. Deeply, eternally. He nods toward the parchment again. I did not give you that ruling because I am disappointed in trying to soften it, he says. I gave it because I take delight in you, and I will not allow any other voice, including your own, to define you as a failure in my court. Your eyes flood, vision blurring, and you manage to get the words out around the ache in your throat. I love you, you whisper. I really, really love you. I know, he answers, and his smile is so warm it almost hurts. And I love you more than you yet have language for. There's a little silence, full and thick and safe. You breathe in deep like you are trying to memorize this air. I hope I keep making you proud, you say, quieter now, more steady. You will, he says. Not because you will never stumble, but because you will keep saying yes. That is what pleases me. You nod, holding his words like treasure. He gestures up the steps. Go on, he says, live this day under the ruling we settled. When you start to drag yourself back into the dock, remember, the case is closed. When you feel lost, remember our walk. When you panic, remember you asked me to come get you, and I agreed. You hesitate. Will you stay close? You ask, one last time. He laughs, not mocking, just full. I am closer to you than your own breath, he says. I will be with you on that porch, in that office, in every waiting room, and every long night. I'm not leaving you, April. I am simply stepping into the unseen side of the same space. You swallow, nod, and step up onto the first stair. At the top, you turn back. He is still there at the bottom, looking up, eyes bright, robe catching the first hint of morning gold. You lift the parchment a little like a half salute. New grace, you say quietly. He nods. New grace, he agrees. The scene softens around the edges, colors bleeding gently. The light around the court blurs, softens, and then it is just the pale wash of real dawn on your own skin. You are on your porch, your chair, your umbrella, the rail where the sparrows stage their tiny lawsuits. The relay is quiet beside you. Your cane is lean just so. There is a faint ache in your back, the familiar hum in your nerves, but underneath it all there is a deep stillness that was not there before. No robe, no marble, no blazing pillars. Just the sky going from ink to lavender to the first streaks of gold. The birds start up in layers. One distant call, then another answering closer, then the little fussing choir in your own trees. You can hear wings brush the air over your head as one brave scout lands on the feeder and scolds the others. You sit there breathing and you recognize it. The same presence, not as a vision now, not as a scene, but as a weight of peace in your chest, as the way your shoulders have finally dropped, as the way the old, sharp voice in your head is quiet. Not gone forever, but silenced for this moment by a higher ruling. You look down at your empty hands, but you can still feel the texture of the parchment against your fingers, the words written there, the gavel strike that ended the case. You know what the verdict is? You know who gave it? Tears sting again, but they are soft ones. You tilt your face toward the sunrise, watch the light crawl over the ridge, and pick out every line of cloud in rose and gold. One of the birds does a ridiculous little hop dance on the rail, and you almost laugh. Thank you, you say out loud, voice low but steady. The words feel like they go somewhere, not just into the air, but straight into that presence, sitting with you on the porch. Thank you, it is a new day, you go on, with new grace and new opportunities. You let that sink in. Not a reset because you earned it, but a gift because he said so. Not a blank slate you have to keep spotless to be allowed to stay, but a field where you get to walk with him, even if you trip. You picture the file in heaven, stamped closed in red. You picture his eyes when you told him you hoped you made him proud. You take a breath that reaches all the way down, feel it stretch your ribs, feel the cool morning air slide in and out, and then, sitting right there on your own porch in Soddy Daisy, under your lit umbrella with Bird Court warming up for the day, you answer him. I say yes. Yes to the ruling. Yes to the grace. Yes to being taught instead of tried. Yes to him coming to get you when you wander. Yes to this exact day with whatever it holds already covered. The sun edges up over the hill. Light spills across your porch. And the birds erupt into full-on argument about whose turn it is at the feeder. You are still here. And heaven's judge, your friend, is smiling over his daughter starting her day under a settled case, saying yes.